Welcome to the All Things Nintendo podcast. I'm Brian Shea, and this is a weekly podcast to discuss all the biggest news and games from the world of Nintendo. We are just 1 week away from the launch of Pokémon Legends ZA, and to celebrate that, plus one of the milestone anniversaries I so love to talk about on this show, we are going to be discussing the Pokémon series history with spin-offs. Joining me for this episode is Polygon editor-at-large Giovanni Colantonio. Gio, how are you doing?
I'm fantastic. Pokemon's right around the corner. You can't be upset about that unless you're one of the people who has made your personality being upset about that, in which case you can be very upset about that. But I'm excited about it, man. Like, I've demoed that game, and it seems cool, so can't complain. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Very, very busy. We are in the midst of our extraordinarily busy season, if you're a member of the games media. So we are just playing review games, checking out previews, discussing. I mean, if Polygon operates anything like Game Informer, we're starting to kick up those end of the year award discussions.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it's a busy stretch. I've got a couple trips coming up here, so yeah, it's gonna be a sprint to the end of 2025. That's what year we're in, right? 2025.
Yeah, you really do lose track of it this time of year. Like once it gets to holiday season and we're in that kind of like, oh, I gotta play a new game every day. It's like, oh, is it 2028? I don't know. Like a lot of time's passing.
Yeah, so a lot of games coming out, but the one that we're going to be focused on in this episode and largely in this podcast is going to be Pokémon Legends ZA. But before we do that, Gio, I believe this is actually the first time you've been on this podcast since you announced your new role at Polygon.
I believe so. Yeah, I think so.
I think the last time you were on was like the tail end of your time at Digital Trends.
Yes. Yeah, no, that's where I'm at now. It's been a change. You know, Digital Trends was interesting because it was kind of like I had a lot of. I was just kind of like running that show over there in a vacuum a little bit, which was like very fun, and I got to get to do stuff. But I've gotten to work with the team that's over there right now, and some really fantastic people who are really trying to do good with that site. So I'm writing stuff that I think is good, and hopefully people like it, and just trying to keep websites cool, and that's my goal.
And I mean, Polygon's one of those major outlets where I never got a byline on it. I pitched it like one time, and they were like, "Yeah, I don't know if we want to take this one on." This is a completely different editorial crew back when this was like 2014, I think.
Oh yeah, like the beginning, yeah.
So it's been a while. But I think that like when the sale happened, I talked about it pretty extensively on this podcast, to the point that one of the reviews on the podcast is like, stop talking about these outlets, because it was like Giant Bomb and Polygon the same week.
Yeah, it was a crazy week.
That like there was a lot of concern about how things would go from here. Can you at least give us some good news about how good old Polygon's going?
I mean, from my perspective, like part of the reason that I went over there was to help the team out. The team that was still there, and help them find their footing. I had gone through a lot of similar stuff at Digital Trends earlier in the year, just transparently. A lot of weird shakeups that happened over there, and I was kind of like, man, I wish I had some help in this time to navigate this stuff. And so that's what I kind of came in there to do to help them out. I think the people that are there and who have been there for a long time are really good folks, and deserved some help at a time where I think it was hard to get it. So yeah, I mean, a complicated situation, right? Like obviously, we've all got feelings about this stuff, but I think that again, the people who are there, who have like been at Polygon for a long time, are really wonderful, lovely people who want to keep making cool stuff and want to keep that site cool. So hopefully, I'm helping with that. That's my hope at the moment, and hopefully, I'm supporting those folks, because that's what I'm there to do. And yeah, I mean, hopefully the writing speaks for itself. I'm trying to keep that site weird as it has been. And I hope it is. We'll see.
Well, everything that I've seen that you've written has been great, and it has carried on that vibe that you had at Digital Trends, while also somehow also fitting into like the Polygon voice. So great work on your part making this transition, and I'm really glad to see that you've landed on your feet after leaving Digital Trends.
Thank you, man.
You did lots of incredible work there prior to joining Polygon.
Yeah, and I love my time at Digital Trends. I was there for a really, really long time. site was going through some changes, as it happens at media sites, and it was just a really natural time to kind of, you know, go from there. Really, we had just gotten through the Switch 2 launch, and I was like, I'm going to get them. I'm going to get them through the Switch 2 launch. I'm going to run a console launch. It's going to be great. I'm going to do Summer Game Fest. And then after that, there was like that summer lull. And I was kind of like, site's changing. That's cool. And it's a good time for me to kind of like step back and let someone else run the show. And
That's called the Doug Bowser.
Yeah, that's it. Doug Bowser's running digital trends now. That'd be cool. They should get Doug Bowser to run that site.
Yeah, he got it through the Switch 2 launch, and then he saw the summer lulls, and he's like, oh, now's a good time to let someone else run the show.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, it's a weird time for media, as we all know. It's very, very strange. It's hard. It's a hard space to be in right now, and to find something in right now, and to like find something that you feel good about right now, above all else. So my focus right now is just like helping the people that are there, who I think are wonderful and lovely, and some of the sweetest people that I've ever gotten to work with, and they deserve help. and I hope they're getting it, but I can't speak for that. Who knows?
Well, we also recently did a podcast together, Gio.
Yes.
Another outlet did this. I don't think we can say where or what the topic was, but I think we can say that it was a Nintendo-focused episode of a debate show.
Yes.
Moderated by a member of Entertainment Media. And you and I think, had a very spirited discussion.
As we are wont to do, yes. And stay tuned. That thing is coming. I don't know when it's coming. I wish I could say like, I think it's out now. Who knows? But yeah, I think we had a very spirited argument about Nintendo games. You made an argument that I could not rebut because it was just objectively true, and I just kind of had to pretend like it wasn't. But look out for that, folks. I think we put out some good content there as guests.
I agree. I think that's going to be fun. And I'll share a link to it in the community Discord, which, speaking of which, this is your reminder that you are listening to the All Things Nintendo podcast. This show arrives in your podcast feeds completely free, but if you'd like to support me and allow me to keep on making these episodes, you can join the Patreon for as little as $3 a month. That gets you access to that community Discord, which lets you chat it up with fellow listeners of the show. Plus, it gets you access to priority access to Q&A episodes. There are also $5 and $10 tiers that give you things like early and ad-free episodes, plus shout-outs at the end of every show. Just go to patreon.com and search All Things Nintendo. It would really help the show continue each and every week if you were able to join up. All right, Gio. So last week we had a bit of a weird week of news. We had the EA acquisition. We had the Xbox Game Pass price hike.
By weird, you mean terrible?
Yes, it was a pretty dour episode. I had a fantastic guest in Mike Futter coming on to share his business know-how about all those things. So I hope people enjoyed listening to that, even as we tackled a pretty upsetting topics in those regards. This time, not quite as dour. We have a bunch of little stories to get across the industry here. But we're going to start with kind of a really strange one from Nintendo itself, which played out over the course of 3 days. So on Tuesday morning, Nintendo put out this animated short that looks a lot like a Pixar movie. And it was called Close to You. And the weirdest thing, so it's just like a mom and a baby in a room. And the baby is left alone for some reason. I'm sure I'm not a parent, but that doesn't seem like the best idea.
Yeah, not a great start for that.
And in this, I mean, it's very Rugrats coded. And in this first rendition of this little animated short, everything in the room just starts moving on its own. And the baby's just like, oh, this is fun. Things are moving around. There was no press release. And the video description on YouTube just says Close to You with a period. And comments were turned off. And everybody's like, what the heck is this thing? Then on Wednesday morning, Nintendo followed up with another version of the video on their weird walled garden Nintendo Today app, where you can't screenshot and you can't rip the video from it. And this time they added back in all of the Pikmin that they edited out of the first version. And then at first I thought that like this might be a tease of some sort. Like, oh, are we getting like the next Pikmin game announced? Is there going to be a spin-off of a Pikmin game? But then on Thursday morning, Nintendo clarified that it was just showcasing the first short film created by Nintendo Pictures, which is kind of the film production subsidiary founded around the time of the Super Mario Brothers movie. So Gio, like what a roller coaster this was. Like first it's like, what is this? Like, did they publish this on the wrong account was my first thought. Like, did somebody did a social media like consultant stay logged into Nintendo's account by accident and accidentally like set this video live? And then obviously the Pikmin version's like, oh, okay, then this is something Nintendo related, obviously.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh yeah, this is what you saw was just like the first short. Why do they string us along for so long? And like, instead of just being like, hey, we're gonna like, this is something they could have teased. This is something they could have given us a heads up. Like, hey, the first animated short from Nintendo Pictures is going live on Tuesday. Like, keep your eyes out.
But we talked about it for 3 days, and like everyone wanted to know what was the deal with that baby sketch, right? And then everyone wanted to know what was the deal with the Pikmin in the baby sketch. What is that? And then they got to the third day of being like, ooh, that thing you've been talking about for 2 days straight, that's our animation studio. Isn't that crazy? Like, credit to them, it worked, right? Like a total like 3-day news cycle of them getting to pull off like a reveal that nobody really cares about that much yet. Like, like that's cool. You guys have an animation studio. A lot of people have animation studios. Great. The thing that I will say about it is that I think it is really interesting in context of actually the last Nintendo Direct. Because the last Nintendo Direct, right, 40th anniversary Super Mario, right? And everyone was like, oh, they're going to announce the next 3D Mario game, like what's going to be the big reveal? And there were 2 big reveals during it. One, which I'd argue was like the minor reveal, like the B game, was like, hey, Galaxy, we're porting those games to Switch. And everyone's like, oh, cool. But like the big reveal was Mario Galaxy movie is coming. That's how we're celebrating Mario's 40th anniversary. And like us showing you the trailer is the hot thing this year. And I think it was a moment where it became very clear that Nintendo's strategy as a media company is changing, right?
Mm-hmm.
They no longer necessarily see games as being their only tentpole thing, right? Like Mario Odyssey 2 doesn't have to be their only tentpole thing. Now, the Mario movie can be a tentpole thing, and the games can support that. And you can be like, oh, here's a port of a Mario game to get you excited about the fact that this movie's coming instead of vice versa. I think this was an extension of that, right? Kind of like, hey, we're not announcing a Pikmin game, but like our animation studio made a Pikmin short. What if there was a Pikmin movie one day? And everyone's like, oh, yeah, I guess. Sounds cool. But I think it's just a kind of another step in this narrative that they're rolling out where it's like, we don't just do games anymore. Media is going to be important. Our animation studio is going to be important. And we want like Nintendo to be a little bit more of a lifestyle across multimedia. So I think we're going to see that a lot more, for better or worse. We'll see. If you liked the baby short, then cool, you're gonna have a great time, I guess. But if you're like everyone else who was like, is this Pikmin? Is it Pikmin 5? What are we looking at? Maybe you won't be as excited about it.
Yeah, like, so we already know that there's Mario Galaxy movie in production. We know that the Zelda movie is in production. Like, we've got casting for that and everything. Is this the extent of which we're going to get like Pikmin something from Nintendo Pictures? Do you think we're going to get like more shorts? What's the play here?
Yeah, so there was, if you remember, like a couple years ago before Pikmin 4 came out, there was like a string of Pikmin short films that they released that were like random like Pikmin animated shorts. It had like its own website. There was like a pikminshorts.com. So I don't know, this is just a thing they're interested with in Pikmin in general. But to me, it feels more like a proof of concept. Like, we want to keep our animation studio relevant. We don't want you to wait another year for the Mario movie to like finally be able to say like, oh, here's our next project. Like, I think we'll probably see this a little bit more as they try to establish themselves and try to like build hype around like what's ultimately a still pretty unproven animation studio, right? Like, we don't totally know what is going to come out of that. The Mario movie, I think, was mixed. Like, I think good things about it, not great things about it. Largely Illumination, who's working on that. So yeah, I don't necessarily think it signals a Pikmin movie. It more just signals like, hey, we're going to be doing more of our IP as movies soon, and like get comfy with the fact that that's what's coming. I think there was a rumor today that there might be a Donkey Kong movie in development, and that might be the next thing that the animation studio is doing, but who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, is there another franchise you'd like to see them tackle with these like shorts?
If they're gonna do shorts, sure. I mean, like if you're gonna do more weird things like Chibi Robo, great for
Oh yeah.
this. Do a little Chibi Robo short. In fact, that short with the baby should have been Chibi Robo. Come on,
Yeah.
they stole my boy's job. He's the house guy. That would be cute. I would love to see something like that. I mean, I have to see more of what their animation style is, like if they're only doing that sort of Pixar-ish, look, because part of me is like, oh, give me like a cool F-Zero short, but I don't think that art style is that. So I don't know. I'd be curious to see like, are they really just kind of doing a Pixar? They're going to have like one style. It's going to unite all of their movies together because they want to do Super Smash Brothers. Like I don't really want to see a Metroid short in that style necessarily. It's not really what that game is.
Just an
But yeah,
invisible Samus moving stuff around in a baby who's been left alone's room.
it's Samus. It's Samus and the baby Metroid, and it's the same exact short, but it's just recreated with that.
It would be hilarious. They just kept putting different Nintendo characters in that same short.
Bowser Jr. You get a lot of good ones there.
Still no Chibi Robo though, because they forgot that franchise exists aside from putting it in the GameCube classics.
That game's amazing. That game rules. That game is really good though, is the thing.
All right, so that's a thing that happened this week.
I guess, yeah.
You can go check it out, called Close to You, over on the Nintendo of America YouTube channel, or go on the Nintendo Today app and see it. Like, they've got to put this. Have they put it on like YouTube, like the Pikmin version yet?
I can't remember. Also, I was just thinking, like, in context, the title "Close to You" is like actually kind of creepy. It's like these Pikmin are all really close to you right now. They're in your world right now, and like that's creepier than I thought when I first heard it.
Yeah, so no, they have not put on
Nintendo Today.
It's only on Nintendo Today, which is very, very silly.
Bizarre. Again, Nintendo, I think they just want their own like lifestyle, and it's like, we want you to use our app, and that's where you're going to see our films, and that's where you're going to get the news. Like they're slowly getting you into a big walled garden, I think.
Does the Nintendo Today app come to Switch too?
That's such a good question. It's not, right? Like, it's because
No.
the Nintendo Switch 2 has like their news thing that no one ever looks at. Just make that Nintendo Today, right? Just have that be like a splash page that you go to. I don't know. Yeah, that's a thought.
Like, they don't put any streaming apps on their stupid console.
So dumb.
Like, why don't they do that? Like,
The
even
one
YouTube or... And especially since they literally, one of the biggest things that they did for this console is have camera integration. Just make a Twitch thing, like make a Twitch channel, like a Twitch app that you can stream from.
You could do Netflix on the Wii. Like, I don't understand why we can't do Netflix here
and the
anymore.
3DS.
Yeah, it's great. There was an Opera browser like on the Wii. Why can't we do anything?
It's such a weird thing. I will say, I do admire the fact that like Xbox completely like nosedove into the ground with the Xbox One launch, where they're like, hey, it's an all-in-one entertainment console, and we're going to focus primarily on the entertainment stuff instead of the games. And Nintendo was like, we are never going to put a streaming service on our console ever again.
Yeah, man, it's good. I guess maybe they just assume like, you have Netflix, you have it on your TV. Like, why do you need it on this console that is like not for this? But it's like, I don't know, man, because I don't want to have like 4 things hooked up to my TV. I just want to have one, and I like the Switch.
Yeah, but if they're gonna do it, like just give us the Nintendo Today app on there. Yeah. Let us watch all this stuff. Let us see these things. I might actually visit it. I always forget that it exists until like the 1 out of 20 like days where it actually has something useful.
I had to re-download it for this whole saga. I was like, I felt so embarrassed because I remember I like uninstalled it from my phone, and I was like, I'm never gonna need this again, suckers. And then I was like, oh well, gotta get back so I can watch the Pikmin play with a baby. This sucks. I have to do this.
Hey there, I'm Hugh from Moderation. If you like today's episode, why not check out The Next Session, your D&D agony aunts there to answer all of your questions. Join Adam and Alyssa as they answer questions sent in by listeners like you about how to solve the problems that come with running and playing in all sorts of different tabletop scenarios. Available wherever you get your podcast.
Well, you know what is on Nintendo Switch 2, Geo? That is SNES Classics. If
Yes.
you're a subscriber to the Nintendo Switch Online, you get access to various classic game catalogs. And Nintendo has announced 3 new games on the Super Nintendo's Nintendo Switch Online library, one of which has never come to the US before.
Read them off. Give me the list.
Yeah, so the first one that we're going to talk about is Mario and Wario, which is the aforementioned not released in the US game, and is a puzzle game that came out in Japan in 1993 starring Mario and Wario with, here's the description: Wario has dropped a bucket on poor Mario's head and now he can't see! Exclamation point. So it's up to you to lead Mario safely to Luigi. Use the Forest Fairy's magic wand to create platforms, change the direction Mario walks, and defeat enemies. You can clear a total of 100 screens full of unique challenges using simple controls. Just move the mouse to move the fairy and click the left button to perform actions.
I'm psyched. So I haven't gotten a chance to go in and play it yet, but I'm so happy that this is on there, for the specific reason that Nintendo. I've talked about this before, but like when they talk about Mario or they talk about their big franchises, they curate history so much. They do not talk about the weird games in these series. They only talk about like, here are the mainline ones that reviewed really well, that like we're really proud of, like. You know, even Pikmin, it's like, oh yeah, we're going to talk about Pikmin 1, 2, and 3. We're not going to talk about that weird Pikmin 3DS game, though. You know, like that's kind of scrubbed from history if it's not good enough. And there's so many weird Mario games, right? Like Mario's Time Machine. I had a game that I played on PC when I was a kid, Mario's Game Gallery, that was like licensed out to a different company, and like it was like you played checkers with Mario, and it was bizarre. I think it was the first time Charles Martinet voiced Mario, but it's just like a lost piece of history because they're like, we don't care about this. So I love seeing like these old Mario games that they have just pretended don't exist come back. I think it's really, really good for preservation. It's really good for like, you know, understanding the actual history of the series and like how big and how much stuff they were making for it was. And more than anything, it gives me hope that one day we will get a very special Mario game ported to Switch Online, which was a game called I Am a Teacher Super Mario Sweater, which was a game where you make a sweater like with Mario stuff. And you could, at the time in like the NES era or whatever it was for, once you finished the design for the sweater, send it into a company and they would make the sweater and send it to you. And
God.
Bring that back, man. I want Super Mario Sweater on Switch Online. I would buy the sweater. Get the machines running.
That reminds me, and we're going to talk about this in the main segment, about like the little machines at Blockbuster when you like had Pokemon Snap.
100%.
And I still have my card that you could like scan it into your N64 and then bring it to your Blockbuster Video and have them print it out.
It was so cool when like games were smaller, so you could like do weird personal stuff like this, you know, where it was like, oh, like, you know, send in this thing, like when there were tip lines, even like, right, the Nintendo helpline, like you could run that because it wasn't 10 million people calling it at the time. And like, man, I kind of miss that. It's great that games have blown up and are huge now, but like, I don't know. There's like a nice human element to that.
Back when not every game needed to make 10 times its budget or the entire staff gets laid off.
Too much fun. Really cool.
So the other 2 games that are coming are Bubsy in Claws Encounters of the Furred Kind. Cool. Fantastic name.
Yeah.
And then Fatal Fury Special. Do you have any fond memories of those games?
No, but what a cool set of games. I haven't played any of these, which is like what I actually want from Switch Online. I feel like people are always like, where's this game that I played like a million times? And it's like, okay, they're going to put it up and you're going to be like, oh, I'm so glad it's there. And I'm not going to play it because I've already played it. Like, this is actually the stuff that I want to see on these surfaces. Like, I want to see the weird stuff more often. I remember like there was one time when like the NES game Pinball came to Switch Online and everyone was like dunking on it and being like, oh, whoa, Pinball. And it was like, this game is like very historically significant. I think like Satoru Iwata, this is like one of his first projects at Nintendo. Like, man, this is cool. And like Mario and Wario, that's a Game Freak game. That's like a pre-Pokemon Game Freak game. Like, this stuff is really important. So like, I haven't played those. I'm psyched that I haven't, because like that gives me a reason to actually use Switch Online and like that's great. I'm not going to go play Super Metroid again right now, even though it's on my wall behind me. Like I've played it a lot of times. I want to play the Mario game where he has a bucket on his head.
There's a weird thing with like the Switch Online libraries. I went in, and I'm a weirdo who likes to keep all of my libraries like organized. So
Yeah,
I went in and like I have like a row of all the Mario games, a row of all the Donkey Kong games, and I just kept going down the line. And then there's just like miscellanea basically for like 7 rows, and it's getting so big on the SNES and NES libraries that like it's just unwieldy. I'm like looking at this, I'm like, I'm never going to play all of these games because at a certain point I'm like, oh, Mario, Donkey Kong, Kirby, and I get to the bottom, I'm just like blob. Like it just looks like a blob of stuff because there are so many games that I'm just scrolling past, which I mean it's a good problem to have, but it's like at a certain point, it just becomes like, okay, well, I just can't keep up with the amount of stuff they're putting on. But that's not me complaining. That's just an observation that like, every time one of these comes out, I'm just like, oh, I should check that out. And then I never do. And then the library grows to a point where it's like, I could just forsake all modern games and I would never get to all these titles.
Look, man, when the video game industry collapses, you'll have so much stuff to go back to.
Well, no, because this is all tied to a subscription, which means that we don't own any of it.
when it's only Nintendo left, then great.
Fair enough. So if you're a longtime listener to this podcast, there was very likely an era where you were absolutely sick of hearing me talk about Vampire Survivors. And developer Ponkel has continued putting out updates and expansions and features and everything. And it has released a trailer showcasing online co-op that is coming to the game this fall. And through this update, up to 4 players will be able to play online together all at once. And the trailer also seemed to tease the next update, which is said to be detailed next week. Gio, are you a Vampire Survivor sicko like me?
I love it. I mean, I haven't played it in a hot minute, but I love that game. I think it's brilliant. I think there's a lot of games that have tried to do Vampire Survivors, but there's just something about the aesthetic of that thing and I don't know how fresh it felt at the time that just still captures me. Really excited about this. I think like always, you don't have to like give me much of an excuse to go back to that game. It's like Balatro in that sense. It's like if you port Balatro to my smart TV, I'll be like, well, I guess I'll check it out and then play 20 hours of it. You know, like this is very similar to that, where like, hell yeah, I'll log in and do multiplayer in this like online. That's great. Good for that studio, man. What a cool success story for such like a small, like inexpensive game.
Yeah, and it's like you could. I did the math like last year at some point. It was like you can buy the game and all of the DLC at full price, and it's still like less than $30.
Incredible! What a world! That's so much less than like what retail games go for now, and you just get so much more out of it. Like I could play that thing forever. I'm like a very anxious flyer. I don't know about you, but like I hate flying. It like really it freaks me out. That was my like time travel game that I would play, where it's like you play that thing and you look up and you're like, oh, it's been 2 hours. Oh, crazy! And I wasn't anxious during that time because I was so hyper focused. Like, thank you to them for that.
Yeah, I'm not an anxious flyer, but I do get very like stir crazy where I'm just like, oh my God, I just want to get off this plane. Like especially like longer flights to like, you know, Japan, or I was recently in Paris, and it's just like at a certain point, I just feel like I'm losing my mind.
Yeah.
And Vampire Survivors, Balatro, games like that, Dead Cells are all like run-based games are so good for that.
It's just like one run will kill an hour, you know, and you just don't realize that much time has gone by. It's my favorite. It's my favorite thing.
It's amazing. So next up, a lot of people, including myself, are excited about this next game, but unfortunately it was delayed. That is Mina the Hollower, the next game from Shovel Knight developers over at Yacht Club, and this time rather than doing a 2D action platformer, they are paying homage to Zelda Link's Awakening. This game was originally slotted for October 31st, but they have now pushed it out some. That's all we know. We don't have a new date just yet, but Yacht Club does assure us that it isn't going to be a major delay. And to that end, they concluded their note with, quote, "We don't want to announce another release date until it's submitted to platforms, so please hang tight as we reach the finish line. The game is so close to being done. We're playing it from start to finish every day. In the final hours, this is what the crew is working on. finalizing design, art, and sound, overall game balancing, implementing localization, eating cheese, testing, on all platforms. I've played a little bit of Mina the Hollower, and it is like a really clever evolution of the Link's Awakening formula. And, you know, it's Yacht Club, so there's going to be like, at the very least, a low bar, like a high bar of like the lowest level of quality it can be, because it's a really talented development studio.
Yeah.
But where does this, like, is this game on your radar at all? Are you looking forward to this?
Yeah, man, I was supposed to review it. I was like, I had flagged that sucker to review this month, and I was going to be all over it. Yeah, I think I played it at like GDC like 3 years ago, and that was like when we thought it was close to coming out, you know, which tells you just how long this development cycle has been. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Yacht Club has earned, I think, a certain level of like, yeah, man, like show me what you got. I'll follow you. I remember when I played the demo at GDC, I thought it was extremely difficult. Like I really, really struggled with it, and it was like an early slice of it. So I almost wonder if that's been like part of what they've been balancing when they talk about balancing, just like getting that challenge down, making it feel like retro and older and still full of that good friction, but like maybe onboarding people into that a little bit more. I don't know. Total speculation. Who knows? But I'm really excited about it. Like I will never turn down a good like top down GBA Zelda like or original Game Boy, not even GBA. There's a great game from last year, which is very different, but there's a great game called Isles of Sea and Sky. That is like a Link's Awakening riff, but it's like a box pushing puzzle game, you know, like a Sokoban game as we would call them. And it's just like a really clever puzzle game, like in the mold of a classic Zelda game, and it's fantastic. And I'll just play however you want to mess with that format and change what you do from that perspective. Great. That game's fantastic. High recommendation.
Unfortunately, it's only on PC, which is a bummer, because it does look like it would be fantastic on the Switch.
I hope they port it at some point. It's a cool game. If you like that kind of box pushing game, which is very niche, but the Zelda charm in it really sells it.
Yeah, I just clicked through and watched a little bit of the trailer and clicked through some of the screenshots, and yeah, that does look like a lot of fun. But yeah, Mina the Hollower, I also got my hands on it. I think it was PAX West 2023. I had a demo for it, and I had a blast with it. And I remember it being a little bit challenging, but it must have been toned down from what you played.
Yeah, I think so.
So hopefully they're continuing to find that sweet spot, because like you said, it's a retro style game, so you want a little bit of that friction, but it's also 2025, so you don't want it to be like old school difficulty where people it was difficult because people just didn't have best practices.
You got to ease people into it, you know. It's all about how you onboard people into that and get them like, oh, I'm supposed to fail in this game, you know, like cool.
Yeah, so no release date for that just yet, but we did get an announcement of PowerWash Simulator 2's release date.
Now we're talking.
Are you a fan of PowerWash Simulator? Because it's one of those games where I feel like it checks a lot of boxes for me, but like I get like certain levels I get to where I'm just like, all right, I get it. Let me move on.
It's absolutely a I get it game. I mean, like I really do like it because I think it just like there's certain games that are so primal, you know, where it's just like we're just gonna give you like a thing that feels good to do, you know, like. And that's it. And like, we don't have to complicate it more, and we don't have to like string you along more. And there's just something very zen, you know, about sitting down and doing that. So I really like it. I don't know that it needs a sequel, and I don't really know what you gain out of a sequel other than more levels, which like you could just put more levels in the first one. Are the graphics better? Do I care if the graphics are better? I don't know. Are there more nozzles? Is that cool? I don't know. But yeah, I'll that's another game where like I'll jump at the opportunity to like sit down for a half an hour and do a power wash and be like, I feel good. But yeah, it's a funny one because it's kind of like, I don't know that I needed a sequel to this, but like, cool, good for them. I'm glad they have the money to do that.
It's funny because I did talk to them at that same PAX West, and I was like giving them ideas for crossovers. I was like, come on, do a Nintendo exclusive crossover where you are just like power washing like Mario Karts, or like you can power wash Peach's Castle, or like Hyrule Castle.
You can do a whole Mario Sunshine thing. You just use the gunk from that, man. You clean Delfino Plaza. Ugh, come on.
Yeah. So to your point about what does this bring, it offers both couch and online co-op, a bunch of new tools at your disposal, including lifts that you can like get higher up on buildings and even get onto rooftops.
Oh, cool.
Multi-stage jobs. So like you finish one area and then like a door opens and you move on to the next part of the job. And extensive home base customization.
Oh, okay.
And the new
new
story mode will have 38 jobs for you to complete and the return of cat companions that you can pet.
Did the first one have a story mode? I can't even remember.
It did, but it was just like, okay, yeah, you're starting a PowerWash company. That's, from what I understand, that was the extent of the story. I only played like the first like 6 or 7 levels. So if that all sounds interesting to you, PowerWash Simulator 2 is now set to arrive on October 23rd, which, you know, not long from now, which this whole stretch has been such an absurd, like, surprise launch after surprise launch. It's been like Hollow Knight Silksong into Hades 2, and now like all these other games, and we've gotten random delays, and I feel bad for all of the indie developers that were like, okay, we're going to delay from early September to late September to avoid Silksong, and then surprise, Hades 2.
Yeah, man. At this point, it's just like there's no good time to release a game, and you just have to accept that. Like, there's never going to be a good time. You can never predict this stuff. Just drop it and hope.
Yeah. So, October 23rd, PowerWash Simulator 2, which has a surprisingly large audience. If people are like laughing at this, like thinking like, oh, who cares about PowerWash Simulator 2? Cult classic at this point, I would say.
Yeah,
PowerWash
absolutely.
Simulator 1.
And for good reason.
Yeah, it is quite like therapeutic almost, I would say, is maybe like a great word for that.
Absolutely.
So speaking of cult classics, in multiple senses of the word, last year, one of the best games that you probably did not play was a horror-style adventure game from 11-bit studios called Indika. And it is a game about a young nun venturing through 19th century Russia with a story that explores topics like mental health, like religious oppression, and self-discovery. And it's won several awards. It's considered by those who played it as like one of the best games of 2024. We liked it quite a bit over at Game Informer. Marcus Stewart, who reviewed it for us, gave it an 8.75. And then the main character, Indika, ended up being named the best hero of 2024 in our belated best of 2024 list when we were relaunched earlier this year. And I bet you can guess the reason that I'm bringing this up. It got announced for Switch. It's coming out November 27th. Gio, is this a game you checked out?
What a good game, man! Indika is so awesome. And look, if y'all haven't played it, and you know, because you only have a Switch or something like that, great time to jump in. Be prepared. It's a weird one. It's an antagonistic one. It is a game that will be a little bit mean to you in a way that I think is great. It's such a unique, strange ride, and it was one of my favorite games that I played last year for sure. It was one of those things where I was like, man, in like a just world, like this would be something we'd be talking about around Game of the Year season, just as much as, you know, like all the big stuff. Like what a cool game, man.
Yeah, I never checked it out, but I heard amazing things for it. I doubt that I'll check it out during the Switch release, but
when it's quieter, yeah.
November 17th.
Wait for the game industry to collapse. Like I said, when it all collapses, Indika, perfect time.
Gio, we said we were going to be less dour.
No, everything's great. Everything's going great. Pikmin play with babies now. I don't know.
All right, we're going to end the news segment on this. For a while there, my voice sounding like Peter Brady all of a sudden. We had a series called Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, and they were never spectacular, but they were cool crossovers that a lot of folks who lived through the 90s probably never thought would happen. And a couple of years ago, it was announced that the International Olympic Committee ended its partnership with Sega and the Sonic brand in favor of pursuing, drumroll please, NFTs.
I didn't realize that's why it happened.
Yeah, but after the bottom fell out on that, it seems that the IOC has come crawling back to Sega as the Sonic brand announced it has formed a new partnership with the IOC to celebrate the Olympic Games. And so far, it's just announced for merchandise, so don't get too excited if you're like hoping this is going to be like a new Mario and Sonic at the Olympics Games announcement. But this partnership can't hurt those chances. Do you think that's kind of the next stage of this partnership?
I hope. Sorry, I'm still thinking about the fact that like that's how bad Sonic's stock got in that period, where they were like, "Hey, I think the Bored Apes is a better idea actually for our partnership." Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I hope so. I mean, that was always, those games weren't like great or anything, but I really enjoyed playing them. I like played them a lot in college, and they were like very very fun party games. Yeah, man, I would love to see that sucker come back, or at least just Sonic in the Olympics again. It doesn't have to be with Mario. You can put Big the Cat in the Olympics. Big the Cat, he can be in there. That's fine. Yeah, I hope something comes of it, and I wouldn't be surprised with how many Sonic games Sega puts out. Very much could happen for sure.
And to be clear, the partnership was ended in like 2021, so Sonic was actually doing pretty well then.
Yeah, that was like the beginning of the comeback story, right? Was around there.
I would say Sonic Mania was probably like the beginning of the comeback story, and then like, varying degrees of success. But yeah, like 2020 when like the movie hit and like
true, yeah,
that was like I think the true like start of like, all right, this brand is actually suddenly like has a lot of heat.
And yeah, at the very least, it was kind of like, oh, this is getting better.
And then the Olympic Committee looked at that and said, nope, NFTs. It reeks of like
was coming. They didn't want it.
It reeks of like we're out of touch and we want a trend chase. So I'm seeing here it was not renewed due to the IOC's desire to explore new revenue streams like NFTs and esports.
Sonic, you have your perfect esport. It's Sonic.
I mean, there are plenty ways you could esportify that.
Yeah, dude, have Sonic the Hedgehog 2 speedruns at the Olympics. That's esport, guys. Come on. Sonic Crossworlds is new racing game. That could be an esport. It's a great game.
It's a great game. It is. I enjoy that game a lot. But yeah, so no Sonic and Mario at the Olympic Games announcement just yet. But hey, there's an Olympics next year, right? Like it's on the even years between like the winter and summer games.
One together very quick, I'm sure.
Yes, there's no logistical challenges of getting it together in Olympics games.
Yeah, easy.
I know that what is it? 2028 is when it comes to the U.S.
I think so. Is that in LA?
Yeah,
that is happening. Yeah,
if that still happens.
Yeah, if it still happens. Not Dower.
Not Dower. Yeah, we're all positive here. In that spirit, we're going to take our first break of this episode. I guess probably our only break of this episode. And when we get back, we will be chatting about the Pokemon spin-offs throughout history. We will be right back. We are back, and with Pokemon Legends ZA just one small week away, plus this week serving as the 20th anniversary to one of the most beloved non-mainline Pokemon games of all time, I want to talk a little bit about Pokemon's long history with spin-offs. Now, we're going to have to set some ground rules here, because this is the most absurd list of games ever. So this is not going to be an exhaustively researched segment like the way that I've done previous history segments on this show, because quite simply, like if I was gonna do like an exhaustively researched like rundown of all the Pokemon spin-offs, it would probably need to be an entire multi-part season of this podcast. If I went into like the making of and like the legacy and the where are they nows and who directed this and all that stuff, like I've done with other games. So we're just going to chat about the spin-off series and the developers who made them in some cases, and share some fun memories related to them. I'm going to run down it. But Gio, before we jump into this, what was your first Pokemon memory?
Oh my God, first Pokemon memory period. I have a really, really strong memory of accidentally saving over my Pokemon Red file. Like the first time I ever did that, I was in my friend's basement, and I had the game, and I played it a bunch, and I just like, I think I started the new file to do the thing where you like, oh, you get a starter and like trade it to somebody, and I just saved over it, like, and there was no way to get it back, and there was no, you only have one file in those games, and I remember having a moment of like being devastated, and like I was a child, and then I kind of stopped and I was like, I guess that's not that big of a deal, and like it changed my life. It was like my first memory with it.
I had a similar memory, but with Final Fantasy X,
Ooh, that's
where
much worse. Ooh.
I was about 45 hours deep into that game and I was stuck on a boss fight and I was like, well, I still want to play this game, but I don't want to like keep ramming my head against this. So I'm going to take a break and just like start from the beginning of the game and like I'll just start like a separate save file. And the very first sphere that I got to, like save sphere, I just muscle memory overwrote my previous file, and I just watched as it's happening. Because like as soon as I hit it, I knew what I did, and then I have to wait for it to stop overwriting the save file before I could do anything. And this was on PS2, so like it took a long time to write that save file. So I have to stand there like this, like with my hands on my head, watching as my 45, 50 hours of save file is overwritten. And
that's brutal, dude.
Bavel's about to fall, and that was one of the worst situations I've had in gaming history.
That's a bad one. Especially if you haven't like finished the game, because I think I'd at least finished Pokemon at that point, and I was like, I just have the file, so it was like, whatever, who cares?
That was my first playthrough of Final Fantasy X, which to this day is a top 3 game of all time for me. So like It didn't sour my experience that much, but it was like, well, at least I like this game enough that I want to play it more.
Yeah, that's true.
So what ended up being your first like spin-off game?
That's such a good question. I think the answer would be Pokemon Pinball. I think that probably would be the first one that I played, and I played so much of that. I had like the rumbling cartridge, back in that day, and I was obsessed with that game. I've always been a big Pokemon head, through good and bad, and I love a lot of the spin-offs. But Pinball was really the first one where I was like, oh, I like this franchise as a thing, and like I just like the vibe of it. I like the designs of it. I don't need the RPG. Just like give me the monsters, and I'm happy. Definitely that. What was it for you?
Me, I mean, it was probably Pokemon's either Stadium or Snap.
Sure, yeah.
I have a strong memory of waiting for like a Toys R Us to open. I'm sitting in the parking lot to like go buy Pokemon Stadium, and I think that was probably the first spin-off that I had. But like Pokemon Blue was my first like mainline game that I
definitely like playing Snap in Blockbuster and printing out the images was up there for me. That if that wasn't the first one, that was number 2 for sure.
Yeah. So let's get into what these spin-offs are. I'm just going to go pretty fast through this list because it is a monstrous list. And any that we want to talk about, we can briefly like jump in and have like a little tangent about any of these. But the first one that I want to talk about is Pocket Monsters Stadium on N64, developed by Nintendo and directed. Listen to this development team. Directed by Takao Shimizu, who people who listened to the podcast last week may remember as the producer of Super Mario Galaxy.
Right.
Him and Shigeru Miyamoto co-produced that game. So like he was the main talking head that I referenced in the Making of Super Mario Galaxy segment that I did last week. Also, listen to this produced by trio. Tsunekazu Ishihara, who is now the president and CEO of the Pokemon Company, Satoru Iwata, and Shigeru Miyamoto.
Whew. Nuts, man. The dream team. That's like the true dream team.
It really is. All we were missing was like Gunpei Yokoi, who I think had left the company at that point. Maybe Eiji Aonuma, but he was busy with Majora's Mask at that point.
I miss Miyamoto like actually like working on games and being in it. I know why he doesn't do it anymore, but like, man, when you heard that Miyamoto was like actually designing a game back in the day, it was like, oh my God, that was like the original hearing that Kojima had a new game coming out, right? Like that was the best.
So that version came out in 1998 only in Japan.
Right.
And that, that was pretty early on. I don't know if that was the first spin-off because I kind of just lumped these all by year.
Yeah.
But it's super early. And then there was the Pokemon trading card game, which came to Game Boy Color. And this was like an RPG, like almost like, hey, it's a Pokemon game, like a mainline Pokemon game. But instead of going around and catching Pokemon and battling Pokemon, you're collecting cards and battling with cards. And this was developed by Hudson and Creatures Inc.
Yeah, Hudson, man. Hudson was so good. I love that game. Is fantastic. And if you've never played it before, it's on Switch Online, and man, it's so good.
It's honestly, it's incredible. And my dream announcement is that they do another one of these like modern that's not like TCG Pocket or TCG Live, where it's like it's super monetized, free to play, all that stuff. I just want like the standard like RPG style that this was, because it was like a deck builder before like deck builders were like huge.
It's the time for it, man. I think people would go nuts for it now. I really do.
It really would be amazing. So that came out in 1998 in Japan, and then they localized it to North America in 2000. And as you indicated, it is on Switch Online. So you could absolutely go check that out if you have a subscription that gets you access to the Game Boy library. So 1998 in Japan, we also got Hey You Pikachu for N64. Which did not come to the US until 2000. Fun fact about this one. So the whole premise of this is it comes with a little microphone that you plug into like the Rumble Pack slot on your N64 controller, and you can talk and give voice commands to Pikachu and like direct him to go around and do stuff in this world. And I played this back in 2015 during an Extra Life stream for Game Informer, in which somebody donated $1,000 for me to eat a ghost pepper while I played this game. And then they also found out that there is like this killer 1-2 combo that you could do for just $50 more. So for rather than making it like $1,000 for each of these things, we had like you could donate $50 and have somebody wear a mask while they play a game. Or you could donate $1,000 and have somebody eat a ghost pepper. So what our very clever community figured out is $1,000 gives them the ghost pepper. For just $50 more, we can make it exponentially worse by having them wear the rubber Michael Myers mask, which legitimately made me think I was suffocating to death while I'm yelling Pikachu, Pikachu. There is a video of it on the Game Informer YouTube channel from the Extra Life stream if you want to go check that out.
Wow.
I had to keep lifting the mask up because my throat was closing up from the ghost pepper and also the lack of oxygen. Because it's a rubber mask, so it's like an inferno inside of there if your face is radiating heat the way it does when you eat a ghost pepper.
Man, going back to Mario and Wario being on Switch, by the way, like this has to be coming, right? Because the Switch 2 has a microphone built in. This absolutely has to be their next, like, hey, we could only have this on this console. It's time to port it. Like, right? It's got to be up there.
I would hope so. I mean, I would love to play it undisturbed by the heat that just radiates up your face and down your throat and into your like upper stomach and
is
like
that the
intestines.
only time you've played it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's a really no. You should never play it again, and that should be your only experience.
I've reached the pinnacle of Hey You Pikachu experience.
He doesn't understand grunts. He didn't understand my pained grunts.
He doesn't understand that I'm crying onto the N64 controller. So the next one we want to talk about here is one that we've already discussed a little bit, and that is Pokemon Pinball, a game that is, for some reason, not on the Nintendo Switch Online library, which makes absolutely no sense. This was on Game Boy Color, developed by Jupiter Corporation and HAL Laboratory, the fine folks who gave us Kirby and the first Super Smash Brothers game.
HAL Laboratories, man, the all-time GOAT. Maybe the best like Nintendo studio in their heyday, especially, and maybe
in the '90s they were the MVP in the '90s.
Yeah, I mean they did Melee. That's HAL, baby.
Oh yeah,
they made the best of all time.
I mean, really, let's just get down to it. It was Masahiro Sakurai and Satoru Iwata who were the GOATs.
They were, but HAL was firing on all cylinders. Great studio. Pokemon Pinball's fantastic. What a smart use of Pokemon. What a cool spin-off idea. I love that game so much. I've never played the Game Boy Advance one, and that's one that I really would like them to put on Switch Online because I would play the hell out of that.
Yeah, I put so much time into Pokemon Pinball. Like, I transitioned fully from like playing Pokemon Blue to playing Pokemon Pinball.
Yeah, me too.
And like I love like the mechanic of like you have to hit a Pokemon a certain amount of times with like the Pokeball, and and you catch them and then you add them to your Pokedex. That is so clever.
There's like a whole thing where you like had to hit Diglets, and they would like it was like a whack-a-mole with Diglets. Man, what a smart, like such a cool twist on Pinball that they just got so many good ideas out of Pokemon, and it's like, man, that's so cool.
And this was also produced by Tsunekazu Ishihara, the president and CEO of the Pokemon Company today.
There you go.
And also interesting to note is that, the reason that we're getting all of these games in 98 and this one was 1999, the Pokemon Pinball, is because Pokemon hit in 1996 and they had no idea if this was going to be a success. So when it was a success, they're like, well, we've got to just monetize the crap out of this series. And so they did that.
Yep. And quite well.
Yeah, they have been quite successful in that endeavor. Next up is Pokemon Snap, which came to Nintendo 64 via HAL Laboratory in 1999. And this was actually pretty close to a global release. You know, we got it in Japan a few months prior to it coming to the US. This was one that I also spent a lot of time in. I loved the core idea of, you know, just riding on rails and taking picture of Pokemon. And the big novelty for me on this one was that, like, it was like, this is how the Pokemon looked in the anime for, like, mostly anyway, right? Like, it wasn't like the characters from the anime, but like the Pokemon a lot of times said their names like they did in the anime. They had like the 3D models. So it was like just like the perfect representation of what people wanted from a Pokemon game at that point. And it felt like so weird to go back to like the sprite based like Game Boy, like you can barely make out that's Fearow art style.
The thing I love about this game so much is like it's technically a first person shooter, right? Like it is. It's just like, you know, there's no guns but you're aiming in first person and, you know, hitting your target. And it's just one of those games that is so Nintendo in like, we understand game design better than you. We understand that like, it's not about the gun or the shooting. Like the thing that is exciting about these games is like, I think like Miyamoto talked about it once. He was talking about shooters and he was like, oh, I get why people like shooters. It's because it's fun to hit a target, you know? And like, that's how he described it. And I was like, oh, he's right. It is like a carnival game. And like Pokemon Snap really understands that in such a cool way. My only gripe with it is the grading system on photos. As someone who majored in photography and cinema, Professor Oak, he doesn't know anything about composition. He doesn't know anything about the rule of thirds. I would take incredible photos in that game that were like aligned perfectly within the rule of thirds, and he'd be like, "Oh, they're not in the center," and I'm like, "That's a boring composition. No one wants that."
But man, when you got that wonderful, that was like something hitting you, right? I don't want to go too that when the smelling salts hit.
Yeah, you really got that sensation. Yeah, I always wished when they did the second one, I was like, when they did New Pokemon Snap, I was like, I hope they at least let me like frame stuff weird, and they didn't. And I won't let me have it.
So the next one, this chronology probably tells me that Pokemon Snap was actually my first spin-off. I wasn't sure which one came first, but Pokemon Stadium is the next one. And this is actually an improved version of Pocket Monster Stadium, which only came out in Japan. And this came out in 1999 in Japan and then 2000 globally. And basically, you know, it's mini games, but the core conceit was that you could transfer your Pokemon from your mainline games to your N64 and battle them in 3D graphics, which again, that's a lot of things that people wanted in 1999 and 2000. They wanted to see their Pokemon in these gorgeous 3D models.
Yeah, and I mean, this really kicked off kind of the competitive scene as a concept for Pokemon, right? Like, I feel like this is where people were like, oh, battling is a thing that matters and we can take pride in. Like, I don't know if you get as like hot a competitive scene without Stadium.
Yeah. And I mean, we're continuing to get kind of like the evolution of that in future titles, which we can get to in a little bit here. Also in 2000, Pokemon Puzzle League on N64. This was also developed by Nintendo, and this was noteworthy because it actually used the characters from the anime, not characters from the game. I never played this, but I know there's a lot of people who love it.
Yeah, it's a basic puzzle game. I mean, I would say like it's. I think a lot of the things on this list that are really good are like really Pokemon centric. And that's one where it's like, that could have been anything. They could have put anything on there and it would have been fine. But yeah, seeing the anime characters in it was really neat. And even going back to it now still feels novel just because they never really did that again. I like it. I'm a puzzle game head. You know me. I like that stuff.
And this was also the same director Shimizu, who was the producer on Mario Galaxy, and also that same production team of Ishihara, Iwata, and Miyamoto. So
they were pumping them out, man.
They really were. I mean, well, to be fair, it was just like an improved version of this. And then also Toru Minagishi was also involved with it, who you may know as a composer who did a lot of work on Animal Crossing, the Zelda games. He worked with Koji Kondo and Kenta Nagata for like Twilight Princess and Phantom Hourglass. He did a lot of sound effects for Mario Kart 7. So like he did music for the Splatoon series and Mario Maker 2. So he's got a pretty good pedigree there as well.
It's cool that Nintendo developers like actually stick around for a really long time. Yeah. Like that's great.
It is. It's always great to see that. And speaking of developers that have been around a long time, the successor to Pokemon Puzzle League, Pokemon Puzzle Challenge, hit that same year on N64, and that was developed by Intelligent Systems.
Oh my god. That's
so bizarre. The Fire Emblem developers.
Weird. I don't even remember this game existing, but cool.
Yeah, so Pokemon Puzzle Challenge. I never played this one, but you know, it was in kind of like in the long like lineage of we're just gonna we had this one game that was successful, we're just gonna do sequels in perpetuity. And that was what the next one was, which was Pokemon Stadium 2, which came out just 1 year later. It was just 2000 in Japan and 2001 globally. And then this was a Japan exclusive, Pokemon Card GB2, Here Comes Great Team Rocket. So Hudson and Creek Inc. once again for the Game Boy Color, only in Japan in 2001.
Localize that one. Bring that to Switch Online.
I would love that. Oh my god, I would love that. Then in 2001, Pokemon Mini. Do you know about this?
It was like an actual console, right? Like a device that you would buy. Was it a Tamagotchi or was it just mini games? I can't remember.
No, it's a handheld gaming device that has interchangeable cartridges, and it's the smallest handheld that Nintendo has ever put out that uses cartridge.
Huh.
And it used one AAA battery, had a whopping 4 kilobytes of RAM. And 8 kilobytes of storage just for save files. So you could have up to 6 save files. And back then it cost $40, which is about $70 equivalent today. And here are some of the games. So these all were like launch window. Pokemon Party Mini, Pokemon Pinball Mini, Pokemon Puzzle Collection, Pokemon Zany Cards. The game stopped coming to the US after this. 2002, Pokemon Tetris. And then after that, the games stopped coming to Europe. And then it was just Japan getting these games. Pokemon Puzzle Collection Volume 2, Pokemon Race Mini, Pichu Brothers Mini, Togepi's Great Adventure, Pokemon Breeder Mini, and then it just went silent and we never heard from the Pokemon Mini again.
I want to hold with like, you know, they're doing Virtual Boy on Switch Online.
Oh my god, yes.
You could just do Pokemon Mini and have that be a whole like, here's like 12 games that we're adding if you have a Switch Online. Give me that. I want to play Pokemon Tetris.
But oh my god, how is there never been another Pokemon Tetris game?
I know, because the Tetris license, they'll give it to anybody. They're like, go ahead.
They really will.
We don't care.
But like, that seems like such a slam dunk. Like, one of the most perfect games ever created, and then the most profitable brand of all time.
Yeah, I think like when you go through Nintendo history, you see an evolution of them like really being eager to work with people and collaborate and like license stuff out, and then you see that change a lot and it becomes a lot tighter. And I think this was like the end of that era, kind of like, whatever, anybody can make anything.
Yeah, I don't know. Like the Pokemon Mini seems like that was maybe their first like stumbling block, where it was like, maybe not everything we're going to put out is going to be a massive success just because we slap Pikachu on the art.
Yeah. But imagine a world where that's like, we have the Pokemon Mini 5 right now, and it's like the graphics are incredible on it.
A 4K OLED screen.
Yeah. That'd be awesome.
There's never a Nintendo Switch.
Now that we've said it, they are going to release a reproduction of this that's like $200. Like they've heard us, and it's going to happen.
Well, it was basically like their version of the VMU from the Dreamcast.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
That's what it almost reminded me of. Like I was watching some videos on it because I never got my hands on it because I forgot this thing even existed.
Probably costs $1 billion to get one now.
Oh my God, I don't even want to. I normally would look, but we've got plenty to get through here, so we don't have time. So they did get right back on the winning trail here with Pokemon Coliseum on the GameCube in 2003.
Great game.
Which was kind of just like an iteration on the Pokemon Stadium formula. Pokemon Pinball Ruby and Sapphire came to Game Boy Advance in 2003. And then we got the Pokemon Channel on GameCube in 2003.
Right. Which was that one? I can't even remember what the Pokemon Channel was.
So the Pokemon Channel was developed by Umbrella, Ambrella, and it was just basically like your goal. I'm reading the Wikipedia page here because I want to make sure I get it right. The goal is to help Professor Oak refine and promote his TV network through watching broadcasts with Pikachu. The game contains elements of adventure, digital pet, and simulation genres, and players can explore full 3D environments, have Pikachu converse with other Pokemon, and collect various items.
Okay, guys.
It received a 55 on Metacritic.
I remember that one. I remember that one growing up. I remember the box of it, and I was always like morbidly like, I kind of want to try it. I kind of want it. Never did.
Well, that was not the biggest success, nor was the next one, which was Pokemon Dash.
Oh, wow. For the DS, one of the launch
for the DS
or launch window games.
Came out in 2004 in Japan, 2005 in across the globe.
Right.
But basically it was like a racing game from the top-down perspective, and you use the touchscreen to like basically do the stylus constantly, where like you're just like you have to keep like it's almost like the predecessor to Dragon Drive.
Yeah.
Where you're using the touch controls to like just basically constantly like go like rev forward to get like your Pokemon racing.
That DS era, man, where it was just like we have to figure out how to make games that are DS games, and it was like Yoshi Touch and Go, and stuff like that. Really a strange experimental time, but I kind of like miss it. I went back to the DS recently and like played some of those games and was like, they like were cooking with ideas that weren't like necessarily good, but were like creative and like tactile. I don't know.
In some cases, yeah. I mean, I much prefer the era we're in now, where it's like all of these things, like they have gimmicks, but they're still like the core experience that you can just enjoy if you want.
Like Dragon Drive.
Like Dragon Drive. The killer app for the Nintendo Switch 2. The next one is one of the reasons that we're doing this segment, and that is because in 2005, aka 20 years ago, we got Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness.
Yeah.
And more specifically, October 3rd, 2005 in the US. So just about 20 years ago this week. This was basically like a full-on RPG in the Pokemon universe that is something that people wanted and didn't really get a mainline like RPG in the Pokemon universe until we got Sword and Shield in 2019.
Yeah.
And but this was like kind of like the first attempt that they had of making a Pokemon RPG in the 3D space.
Yeah, and I think it went really under the radar at the time and underappreciated because I don't think that people realized that's what it was. I think like at the time you knew Coliseum and Stadium as like, yeah, that's the battle game, which that's not an RPG, you just battle Pokemon. And I think everyone thought that's what it was. And I remember I thought that's what it was, but I remember playing it. I know where it was. It was in Cape Cod at my parents' house over there. And like a bunch of friends came and we brought it. And I was like, oh, this has like RPG elements. And then I like played it more and I was like, no, this is a full game. And it's weird that like no one seemed that excited about it at the time. And like since then, no one's been like, bring that game back. Like if you put that on Switch Online now, I think people will like have a renaissance with that one for sure.
It's supposed to be coming. Like that was in the Switch 2 reveal that like, why didn't they put it out on the anniversary?
Yeah.
Nintendo makes very little sense sometimes.
No rhyme or reason.
So yeah, that came out 20 years ago this past week. And then 2005 in Japan, we got Pokemon Trozai for the DS, which that came 2006 across the globe. And that was like a match. Is it match 3 or match 4?
Yeah, I think it was like a match 3 or 4 puzzle game. Yeah. Pretty
very fun.
Yeah, really fun one.
Then we got into kind of like the more robust spin-offs, I think, with Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, Blue Rescue Team, and Red Rescue Team. One of those came out on the GBA, one of them came out in the DS, and the series was actually developed by Spike Chunsoft.
Yep.
Back then it was just Chunsoft, and then now they're Spike Chunsoft. But that came out 2005 in Japan, 2006 globally, and this is like a dungeon crawling series.
Yeah, it's very like Sheer and the Wanderer, where you're going through dungeons and like moving kind of square by square. Very one of those games where you either get it or you don't. Like, I remember when I tried to play it for the first time, I was like, this is terrible. I hate this. But like the people that these games connect with, I think like would probably tell you these are the best spin-offs in Pokemon, and good for them, man. I'm glad that they have one for the sickos.
Yeah. And speaking of that, we then got Pokemon Ranger for DS,
right?
Which is another HAL Laboratory joint, collaborating with Creatures Inc. And that was 2006 across the globe. I never played this, but I did watch some gameplay of it, and it seems like a wild ride. Like going around in like a kind of a top-down space and just like battling Pokemon like out in the world. Like, I don't know. Like, did you ever check this out?
No, Ranger I never checked out. Like, this was an era where I think I was like tuned out of Pokemon. I mean, I was playing the mainline games, but I think I like tuned out a lot of the spin-offs. So a lot of these are like, I know them so well on paper, but like haven't played them. And at the time, I remember not knowing the difference between Ranger and Mystery Dungeon, like because they both kind of were at the same time, and I was like, I don't know. This is like where I think they almost like were doing too much stuff, and it was like hard to keep up with it, which is why I think maybe you get like Pokemon XG not hitting the way that it should have.
Yeah, it was kind of like the well had been poisoned a little bit by too much stuff, because this is not even 10 years after Pokemon had hit, and like, people are just losing their minds over anything, again, with Pikachu on the front, unless it's Pokemon Mini, in which case nobody paid attention to that. But the next one is a pretty good one, Pokemon Battle Revolution for the Wii. That was in 2006, and that was kind of like the carrying forward of the Pokemon Coliseum, Pokemon Stadium type of gameplay.
Yeah,
very turn-based battles.
Very fond memory of this one. I'll throw out real quick, which was that my friends and I played that one, and we went online with a fully EV trained, like IV trained, breeded team of only tanks, just 6 tanks with no offensive moves. They only had like defense curl and like all of those moves. And we would have hour-long matches online where we would get people with like hacked shiny teams to lose by struggling to death because they could not put a dent in Shuckle, and you would just get beaten by like Shuckle and Claydol. And it's probably the best experience I've ever had with a Pokemon game, just watching people rage quit 45 minutes into a game because we used rest, because they didn't know that we had it on a Pokemon, and they were like, forget it. It's like the best.
They would just chip away at you for like 10 minutes, and then you'd use rest and just wipe away all that progress.
Literally like 20 minutes sometimes, because you would just like defense curl, 20 minutes. You would let it get to the end and then like hit it and reveal that you had it the whole time, and like you could feel the rage quit through the game. Like you could feel someone break the controller. Best Pokemon experience I've ever had in my life.
That's fantastic. That same year, solely in Japan, I don't have any information on this, but a game called Pokemate hit mobile devices, developed by Square Enix.
Never heard of this in my life.
I have no idea what it is. But speaking of Japan and Japan exclusive releases, around this time there were also several Japanese arcade games, several of which were developed by Marvelous. And so we got Pokemon Batrio in 2007, Pokemon Treta in 2012, Pokemon Treta Lab in 2013, and Pokemon Ga Ole in 2016. And all of these are like games that you basically like put like you put in your money, and then you receive like these tactile things. Some of them are cards, some of them are like little like tokens, and you have to put them on a board and like you strategize where you're putting your Pokemon, and then you battle an opposing team. If you go to Japanese arcades today, you can still see these everywhere. Like a lot of these Japanese arcade games that really are cool, exclusive to Japan, and like there are so many different ones, and I always try to like piece together what's going on. Like I'll watch somebody play and I have no idea. I've watched probably like 6 full matches and I still have no idea of what's going on.
The Japanese arcade scene is so much cooler. Like, I wish we had that here.
Yeah, it's where I spend a good deal of money every time I go to Japan, just because like the experience is so worth it.
Yeah.
Around this time, we started getting sequels to a lot of those like GameCube and Wii era games. So we got Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, Explorers of Time, and Explorers of Darkness on DS in 2007 in Japan, 2008 globally. Pokemon Ranger, Shadows of Almia on DS, that hit 2008 globally. Did you ever play My Pokemon Ranch?
No, and that's vaguely out of my memory.
It's a WiiWare game that hit in 2008. And basically it was an extremely ugly game where you could transfer Pokemon from your mainline games to your Wii and basically build up a ranch of Pokemon to like complete different tasks. It was a very weird thing.
Why not?
We also got Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Explorers of the Sky for DS in 2009. And Pokemon Rumble, which is a very strange game, a WiiWare game, 2009, and it was basically like a weird, like obtuse, like real-time battler.
Yeah, not very good, if I recall.
No, not at all.
No.
Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Advance Fire Adventure Team, Go Storm Adventure Team, and Aim Light Adventure Team, exclusive to Japan, WiiWare 2009. I never played these games, but I know there's a lot of love for them. The Poke Park Wii games. So there's Poke Park Wii, Pikachu's Adventure, which was 2009 in Japan, 2010 globally. That game, basically, like you take control of Pikachu and you're running around this big open area. And you're basically like trying to make Pokemon friends as Pikachu. And some of them are like, oh, you found me. Yeah, let's be friends. And other ones are like, oh, I'd love to be your friend, but I have to do this first. And you complete a task for them. You have to beat a mini game or something like that to recruit them as a friend. I know a lot of people, this was like kind of like an early formative Pokemon experience for like people younger than us.
Yeah, for sure. And like I'm looking at it now because I do remember the covers for these. I remember like they didn't review well at the time, but I do remember people having like a fondness for them. And I don't know if it's just because they grew up with them and, you know, like the game you play as a kid is great. But this is one that like I would love to see them just like bring these two back for fun. I would play the heck out of these just to see what's up with them.
Yeah. I don't know. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? Just put it up there. Just put any Pokemon game up,
Preservation
please.
is good. Just do it.
Yeah. Just please just give us any Pokemon game in the online catalogs because they've given us like scraps, but like
so
not
weird.
Why? Yeah,
I think it's just because they know that they can like resell those anytime they want. It's such like a break glass in case of emergency. Like,
then why haven't they?
Again.
Like, it's so weird. It's like they could be raking in the dough. Yeah. Are they like afraid of or maybe it's the 30th anniversary announcement that we're going to get in February.
Maybe.
I don't know. I bet we're getting the next. Okay, we're getting off into speculation instead of we've got a lot of games still to go. 2010 Pokemon Ranger Guardian Signs on DS. Pokemon Rumble Blast hit the 3DS in 2011.
That's a bad one. That's a bad
I never played it.
I played that one. That's bad.
Learn with Pokemon Typing Adventure hit 2011 in Japan, 2012 in Europe for the DS.
Of course.
Never came to the US, but it was bundled with a wireless keyboard that worked with the DS.
What? It has a touchscreen. You don't need it.
Well, the whole point is you're learning how to type.
I know, but all right, sure.
We're getting to maybe the longest running Pokemon live service game of all time, and that is Pokemon Trading Card Game Online.
Sure, yeah.
Which came to PC, mobile, and web browsers at some point. I think it started on web browsers in 2011 and then eventually got clients or apps on all of those devices. That came out in 2011 and wasn't discontinued until 2023.
That's so crazy.
We got 12 years of Pokemon Trading Card Game Online. And the whole thing is like, you can buy cards in the app, like you can buy packs in the app, or you can go and redeem these little like QR codes that come with physical Pokemon card packs, and you can like get booster packs in the game through that. The only problem is like if you have a lot of those, like I do, it's just a nightmare trying to redeem all of them. Like I probably have over 1,000 of those QR codes right now, and there's no, like, until they have a way that you can just like scan them on your phone like one by one very rapidly. It doesn't have to like do like an animation and like showing opening the pack. It's like, no, just let me just like take a stack of these and just shunk 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 shunk. But no, it's unless they've updated it with the new app that we're going to get into in a little bit here, it's just a nightmare.
Yeah.
But it's a fun game if you
Sure.
you can't play it anymore. But
yeah, it was fun. Yeah, you missed it.
Yeah. And then Poke Park 2 Wonders Beyond hit Wii in Japan in 2011 and 2012 globally. Pokemon Conquest hit the DS in 2012.
Right.
So I don't the DS in 2012. That's crazy.
Yeah, I this is another one of those ones like Ranger where I'm like, I remember the name, I remember the cover, I remember the title treatment, do not know what this game was. Just it all went out of my brain at that point.
So I somehow missed this tidbit.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm going to brace you here. It was developed by Tecmo Koei.
Oh, okay.
And the game, here's the synopsis from the Wikipedia page. The game is a crossover between the Pokemon and you're never going to guess what the other franchise is.
Dynasty Warriors?
Nobunaga's Ambition.
Tecmo's so weird, dude. They're so weird.
I need to know
There's a Nobunaga's Ambition Pokemon crossover in the world that I don't know about?
Okay. So the plot. Let's get into the plot here. A legend is foretold that the one who unifies all 17 kingdoms of the Ransai region will have a chance to encounter the legendary Pokemon who created the region. Warriors and warlords all over the Ransai region sought to fulfill the foretold legend, resulting in battles and an end to the region's peaceful era. The game initiates with the player becoming the warlord of the Aurora and meeting Oichi. Okay, we're going to skip to the part where we get to the Pokemon because there's a lot of words.
Yeah, there's a lot of backstory before getting to Pokemon.
Okay, so after defeating Nobunaga and completing the main storyline.
Spoiler!
Oh, wait, we're missing some stuff.
Okay.
With Nobunaga and his Zekrom defeated, the player unites Ransai and the Infinity Tower is revealed. Inside, the player's party finds the mythical Pokemon Arceus. After linking with Arceus, the player is confronted again with Nobunaga, now partnered with a shiny Rayquaza.
That's insane.
This reminds me of when we were going over the F-Zero lore.
Oh my god, yeah. Oh, I gotta play this instantly. I'm gonna go find this when we are off this call because that's crazy. The fact that like you defeat his Zekrom and he's like, I will come back stronger with my shiny Rayquaza. That's crazy.
The game is a turn-based strategy and tactical RPG, unlike the mainline Pokemon series. And warriors and warlords have unique battle-changing powers that boost their Pokemon's abilities. The player, accompanied by Eevee, travels throughout the Ransai region, befriending Pokemon and battling warriors and warlords to conquer and unite the region.
This is the coolest game I've ever heard of in my life. That's so
I was
cool.
not prepared for this.
The box art for it, I guess I never looked at the box art for it before. I've seen this a million times, and I didn't realize that Nobunaga's just on the box. It just went over my head as an adult. I think I was an adult at this point. Wow, cool stuff. I'm going to buy this.
Also, worth noting, Oda Nobunaga is a historical figure.
Yeah, he's real. That's not a made-up guy. You can't just give him a Rayquaza. That's amazing. That's cool. Koei Tecmo is the greatest company in the world.
I'm glad we did not just glance over that like I was about to.
Yeah, dude, no, that deserved the deep dive. That's so cool. I'm going to buy it.
I don't know. How much does that even cost
probably
on eBay?
$1 billion because it's probably the coolest game of all time.
It does have an 80 on Metacritic.
Yeah, of course, because it's the best developer of video games.
Oh my god.
I'm in. I'm so
wait. Okay. On eBay, you can get the cartridge by itself for $65.
Don't tell your listeners because I'm going to buy them all up.
Hey, you have a good 4-hour head start before this episode hits Patreon.
I'm doing it. You're not gonna find it, suckers.
There's also a looks like complete in box version for $95.
Okay, well, we'll see.
Hope you have a DS.
I do. Oh,
well, you have a 3DS. 3DS functions.
I got both. I'm good. Wow. I've got the old clamshell DS. I'm fine.
All right. How do we move on from that? Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Gates to Infinity, 2012 in Japan, 2013 globally for the 3DS. Pokemon Rumble U. You want to guess what console that came out on?
Could it have been the Wii U?
It sure was. That was the time where we were just putting U at the end of everything to signify that it was for the Wii U.
Very cool.
2013. Pokemon Battle Trozai for the 3DS. I loved this game.
Great game. Yeah.
It's so much fun. Another match 3 or match 4, I forget, because it's been 11 years since I've played it.
Yeah, but I like that one a lot.
Fun. Yeah. Camp Pokemon, a mobile game that came out in 2014 exclusively in Europe, Australia, and New Zealand.
Okay, why not?
I don't know.
Sure.
Pokemon Art Academy. I feel like I would love it if this would have come out on Wii U, but the 3DS, it was just my hand was so cramping when I'm trying to draw these Pokemon pictures. This came out in 2014.
Do it now with the mouse controls, cowards.
Oh my god!
Let's go. Bring it back.
Or just put out a stylus and have it be on the Switch.
Yeah.
You could have a Switch compatible stylus. I don't know.
Why not? Just make it.
Development. It's easy.
Yeah, we can just if we can think of these products, you can make them. There are no global supply chain issues. Just make it.
In 2015, we got Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon on the 3DS. It came out in 2015 in Japan and US and 2016 everywhere else. Pokemon Shuffle hit 3DS and mobile devices in 2015.
I liked that game, and I don't remember what it was. I think it was a puzzle game, but I remember liking it and playing it a lot.
It sounds like a puzzle game, and we're going to make sure this is not another Nobunaga's Ambition crossover. I don't think it is, but...
Okay. I don't think so either, but you never know.
Oh, yeah, I remember this. Yeah, this is a very, very recognizable art style.
It was just a normal match 3, right?
It's a spin-off from the Battle Trozai, or spin-off from the Pokemon series with gameplay similar to Battle Trozai.
Yeah, it was a cool one. I like that one.
Okay. Pokemon Picross, speaking of high-powered collaborations, 3DS in 2015.
So good. Great one.
Tell me about Pokemon Picross, because I am not a Picross guy, but is this a good one?
Yeah, it's a good one. The Pokemon Picross, the thing that was cool about it was, one, they released it as a free-to-play thing, but you could just spend $10 and get the entire game, which I thought was a perfectly fine compromise, because it was plenty of game. And the trick with it is that each puzzle was a Pokemon. You would catch the Pokemon from doing the puzzle, and then you could use that Pokemon. So each one would have a power where it would be if you want to, Eevee will reveal a whole row at the start of it or whatever. So it's a really good one for people who like Picross, but need a head start in those games because they're I can't wrap my brain around where to start. It's a really good kid-friendly version of it, and it's a clever twist, and the idea of just making puzzles that are Pokemon is great. Just a smart, focused idea. It's a solid one.
All right. Well, I wish I could check it out, but it's on 3DS, and my 3DS, I have no idea where it is currently because I moved in March, and it's in a box somewhere.
And none of that stuff is available anymore because the
good point.
Down. Yeah, you can't get Pokemon Conquest if you wanted to.
Oh boy, Pokemon Rumble World came out as a sequel to Rumble U that hit 3DS in 2015.
Why did they make so many of those?
Weird, 2015 was a big year for the Pokemon franchise because we also got Pokken Tournament by Bandai Namco.
Wow, yeah, in arcades, right?
Japanese arcades in 2015, and then 2016 on Wii U across the globe.
Yeah,
this is basically a crossover between Pokemon and Tekken, but it's only Pokemon, which is it strange that it doesn't have Pokemon in the name?
Yeah, Pokken, you just at that point they were just confident that you would just see the little accent mark over the E and be I get what this is. I see Machamp on the cover. He's big.
I wonder if they were can we call it Pokemon Tekken? And then they were well, we can't do that because there's no Tekken characters. And also Street Fighter Cross Tekken failed miserably.
Right. They
so
should
they were
have
like
put Tekken characters in it. To be clear, that would
just
have been cool.
Kazuya beating the crap out of Snorlax.
Oh, come on, that would be so cool.
Devil Jin just blasting a hole through Pikachu's chest.
Yeah, really, go full Mortal Kombat with it. Why not?
Oh my god, and having like Heihachi like picking up like Infernape and slamming him through a skyscraper.
You can have Machamp pick a dude up by all of his limbs and like tear him asunder. That'd be great. Make Mortal Kombat Pokemon. Do that.
Please.
Cool. Yeah.
Pokken Combat with a K? Pokembat.
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 There you
It
go.
feels good coming out the mouth.
Yeah, that felt great.
Pokembat. Well, yeah, so that came out on Wii U, and eventually there was a deluxe edition that came to Switch for that. Still a fun game, even though it's oddly not appreciated as much as I think that like a Pokemon fighting game with Tekken mechanics should be.
Yeah, I think it was just, this was one of those ones that was like, it was on the Wii U when they re-released it. You know, it was in arcade, so it was hard to find. Then it was on the Wii U, and I think that just a lot of stuff that released there first didn't work.
Yeah. Well, one that did work, 2016, the biggest game ever, Pokemon Go.
I was like, which one? Yes, Pokemon Go.
One of the most successful like phenomenons in video game history, Pokemon Go. I mean, what's your wildest Pokemon Go story? Everybody has one.
Not necessarily one that was wild, but I remember being out at like 3 o'clock in the morning in my neighborhood, because now we're like, me living in New York, you know, by the time this stuff is coming, living in New York. And like, I remember being out at 3 a.m. just walking, going to like Taco Bell or something. And I was like playing on my phone, and like, it was so prevalent at this time that I looked across the street at 3 a.m. and someone looked over at me, and we instantly were like, hey, because we knew that we were both doing the same thing. And I was like, wow, this game is huge if that's the experience.
I have several stories from this.
Please.
One is it was probably like 1 a.m. in my neighborhood. I was in suburban Minneapolis at the time. And there were probably, I at the time, I lived on what was probably a top 20 spot on the planet to play Pokemon Go, because it was a memorial parkway, and there were like gravestones, or not gravestones, but like little memorials to all the Minnesotans who had died in World War I.
Oh, cool.
So naturally, every single memorial to these fallen soldiers was a Pokestop.
Oh my God.
So there would be people playing all hours of the night, just walking up and down this parkway. Eventually the neighbors, after the community days started, the neighbors had to lobby to Niantic to get it delisted or get it like nerfed basically. But I remember like we were all out there, a group of like probably like 50 or 60 of us just walking around these memorials catching Pokemon. And it was usually like crappy stuff. Yeah. But this was like maybe like a month in. So like everybody was playing, and somebody from like 2 blocks away, you can hear them echoing like the Mortal Kombat cry, going, Arcanine! And everybody sprinted through the neighborhood at 1 a.m. I'm sure people who like were like looking out their window were like, what is happening?
That's extremely cool.
So there was that. I remember SDCC 2016, because that was a month after Pokemon Go launched, was extremely fun. And I remember, I'm not going to put this person on blast, but early on I was like, oh, this is going to be a different type of convention, because I remember walking past a vendor and he looked so distraught, and somebody was like, what's wrong? I was like, your sales not going well? And he's like, man, a Dratini got away.
That is devastating.
And I remember I was on my way to a party, and, you know, any of these conventions are having like night parties, and I am meeting a friend there, and I'm in my Uber, and a Kadabra pops up. I didn't have a Kadabra at the time, and I'm like, oh my God, I need this. And I tried to catch it, and it got away. And my friend greets me, like he's standing outside the venue, and I'm like, hey, like, what's going on? He's like, hey, how you doing? And I'm like, I'm really upset. A Kadabra just got away. I'm like, are you okay? Because he looked like really upset, and he's like, yeah, I think my marriage is over. And I was like, oh no.
That's extremely cool.
That put things in perspective.
Were you like, yeah, man, that sucks, but like Kadabra turns into Alakazam, you know? This is a pretty cool Pokemon.
So yeah, that's my those are
That's
my
amazing.
wildest Pokemon Go
Well,
stories.
as you were saying that, I was trying to get a definitive answer on this and I couldn't. But if anybody can verify this one way or another, I couldn't figure out if Oda Nobunaga's tomb is a Pokestop or not. So if anyone can figure that out, so you can get your shiny Rayquaza, look it up.
Oh my god, could you imagine if they did that?
That would
Just
be
have a
cool, man.
constant raid battles against shiny Rayquaza.
Yeah, you gotta pay respects. He had Zekrom.
Actually, all those stories aside, the craziest Pokemon Go story I have happened just last month when I flew out to Paris to do a walking tour of Paris via Pokemon Go.
Right. That's cool, man. I'm glad that game's still going. I'm glad that like they've found a way to keep making it work. It's a cool game. And it's gotten better. I remember when I played it at the time, I remember thinking like, this is such a great social moment. I hate this game. I don't think this game is good, but I love the social moment, which is how I felt about a couple of like the Pokemon Pocket card game, which we'll get to. Same thing.
Yeah. So, Detective Pikachu.
Sure.
Came out 3DS 2016 in Japan. Took them 2 whole years to localize that globally.
Yep.
We also got a movie out of that, which is kind of wild that is the one Pokemon property that got made into a live action movie.
Why not? He loves coffee. I get it. Relatable.
Yeah. Pokemon Duel is a mobile game that came out in 2017 and was delisted in 2019.
Underrated. Really cool game. Very
I never
cool
played
game.
it.
Yeah, very underrated game. It was like almost like chess-like, just really neat, like figure battling game where you got figures and like it was all about positioning and like capturing Pokemon or defeating Pokemon. I can't even explain it anymore, and I can't go back and look at it. But I was obsessed with that game. Very, very underrated game.
Yeah. One that I have a love-hate relationship with is the next one, 2018 Pokemon Quest. Did you ever play this on Switch and mobile?
Yes, I did very briefly and did not like it too much.
It's like voxel art
Yes.
and auto battler. Like you choose your team and then like you just have to like let them battle the enemies that like pop up, like just wild Pokemon that pop up, and then like you build your team. It's cool concept, but like as you get more than like 2 hours deep into it, you're like, okay, it's a very, like we talked earlier, it's very much an I get it game.
Yeah, and that's when we were getting into like Pokemon was getting really into like free to play as their financial model, and I feel like that had a catastrophic impact on a lot of the games we're going to talk about after that at this point.
Yeah. Pokemon Rumble Rush is the next one. That was another mobile game, 2019.
Why are there so many Rumble games?
Pokemon Masters came out in 2019 and then was renamed to Pokemon Masters EX in 2020.
Right.
And legend has it, if you tune into any given Pokemon Presents live stream, you can still hear about it to this day every 6 months.
Every time it comes up, I feel like we always forget about it, and it's like, oh, is this black and white No, okay. And then just everyone shuts down for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, everybody starts checking their phone.
Yep.
But hey, this is like the game that I should like on my phone because it's like very battle focused. I did check it out briefly back in like 2020, 2021. Where I'm like, yeah, this should be my jam, but it never hooks me.
Yeah. I couldn't get into it.
They always have all the like amazing like trainers from past games, which I like. Like it's cool that like Lance and Dragonite are there, and like
it's just too transparently like a gotcha free to play thing. Like, and that just it just turns me off.
Yeah, that same year, 2020, we got Pokemon Cafe Mix, which again we still hear about to this day.
Yep, free to play.
2020, a great year to release an arcade game that you have to go somewhere and like touch things, and so Pokemon Mesastar hit Japanese arcades in 2020, and that is still very popular in Japan from what I can tell. Yeah, that I think that's the card one. The other ones are like little tokens that you put down. This is a card battler where like you basically like get cards when you can also collect cards and like buy packs and stuff in Japan for this.
That's kind of cool, but why the timing on that stinks.
Yeah. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX hit Switch in 2020.
Yep.
Pokemon Smile. Hey, that was a 2020 companion app that taught you how to brush your teeth.
Yep.
That's kind of a loose definition of a game, but whatever.
Yep. Yeah, that's an app.
I chose to include that, but not Pokemon Sleep.
That I played a lot of Pokemon Sleep, a lot, but neither of them are games.
Then in 2021, we got one of the dream announcements: new Pokemon Snap on Switch.
That's right. And after years of people clamoring for it, nobody really played it.
Yeah, where did this end up on the Switch's like best-selling?
I don't think it did very well. I think Pokemon Snap was one of those games where like I love Pokemon Snap, but I think people just like liked the idea of it coming back more than they actually wanted a sequel. I loved new Pokemon Snap. I thought it was great. It was kind of everything that I wanted. I loved it. But I feel like people were just kind of like, I don't know, man. Like, actually, we just like the nostalgia of being kids again. And this game isn't that. It's like, yeah, I'm sorry. It's never coming back.
Yeah, so you may recall that Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope famously bombed in terms of sales.
Yeah.
This is one slot below that.
Ooh, that's rough.
So Mario plus Rabbids sold about 3 million copies. New Pokemon Snap, which came out 2 years before, or no, I'm sorry, 5 months before Mario plus Rabbids, has only sold just under 3 million copies.
Couldn't even get a pandemic bump, like an early pandemic, everyone's playing games bump. That's rough.
But this was the return of Bandai Namco, which developed the Pokken Tournament games, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, I think it's underrated. I think it's a great game.
I agree. 2021, we got Pokemon Unite, which is kind of like the free-to-play MOBA on Switch and mobile.
Yeah.
I've never dove into it, but I know lots of people like it.
Fun, kind of pay to win. Again, like Pokemon Company at this point, and they're a little bit too much into that.
Yeah. I hesitate to... I mean, I think that if we're calling Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness a spin-off, we have to call Pokemon Legends Arceus a spin-off.
Definitely. I think
even though it's developed by Game Freak.
Yeah, I think spin-off, even if it is like a mainline spin-off, definitely. And like, also, is that just going to become the mainline Pokemon at some point? If this new one is really beloved? I don't know. Thinking about it.
I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. We'll have a review of that game next week, hopefully. Yeah. We'll see. I'm gonna have to find somebody to get on there because Nintendo has still not put us back on the pre-release list as we've talked about in previous episodes.
Shame.
But Pokemon Legends Arceus really it's one of my favorite Pokemon games of all time. It's fantastic. And I was so concerned about Pokemon Legends ZA, like changing up the formula so much, but I'm extremely excited for that now.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. I mean, I just enjoyed at that point, like seeing them clearly being willing to mess with the formula, because I think the mainline games had started to get like, okay, like we're experimenting, but like, you know, it's not quite working at the same level. And this, I think, hit on something very, very cool. Yeah, I like it a lot, even though I kind of remember playing it at the time and thinking like, this feels like a napkin doodle for what's going to be like a really cool sequel. And I'm hoping that turns out to be true.
I sure hope so. And they're taking a lot of chances with Legends ZA. So excited to dive into that. 2022, we got Pokemon TCG Live, which was the replacement for TCG Pocket.
Right.
That came to PC and mobile, and you can still cash in your cards and everything for, or your QR codes from physical booster packs. Lots of quality of life improvements there. And he's back. He's back, Gio.
What?
2023, Detective Pikachu returns.
Oh, he's back. He's so back.
Spread the word.
Wow, I reviewed that game and I forgot that it existed. That's a weird one. Pikachu goes to jail in it. Spoiler.
That's cool. But bad news, because it does not even register in the top 100 best-selling Switch games of all time.
It was not great. It wasn't bad. It wasn't good. It was just a game for the sake of releasing a game.
Well, he's back, and we may never hear from him again, aside from when Ryan Reynolds voices him.
He's in jail.
He's in jail.
He's in prison.
2024, just last year, we got Pokemon trading card game Pocket, which that's one of those games that was it's better to burn out than to fade away, because I had an intense love of this game for probably about 2 months, and then like so many rock stars at the age of 27, I was immediately just over it, and it went away and exited my consciousness basically forever.
You are so much better for it. I still play it, and I haven't liked it since it came out. I don't like it, but I keep doing it, and like, I can't tell you how unhappy this game makes me. I'm literally pulling today's polls now because you reminded me. And it currently has like the absolute worst booster pack situation going on. This game is a nightmare that haunts my dreams. I truly, truly hate it and play it every day.
Hey, I liked it I think I lasted longer because I liked it so much that it made my top 10 games of 2024.
Psychopath.
Because it was good at first. It was fun at first.
Yeah, like, the early packs were at least like, yeah, something. But it's gotten so like monotonous. It's just
that's unfortunate.
Can't do it.
Well, that brings us to this year's game, which is Pokemon Legends ZA, Switch and Switch 2. Developed by Game Freak, so it's the core team basically working on this. Gio, we've talked a bit about this. We don't need to like really harp on it too much, but what's your hype level? Give me a letter grade.
I'm pretty excited about it. I actually demoed it. Nintendo did like a holiday tour kind of recently where it was like, hey, here's all the games that we have coming up, and that's the first time I got to play it. And I wasn't as high on RCS as everybody else was. I liked it a lot, but was kind of like, this has potential, but it's not quite there. I really, really liked what I played of ZA. Just the way it's approaching combat feels like, oh, this is what I've always wanted Pokemon combat to be, where it's like you hit surf and you see the surf wave go up in real time and like it's on a battlefield. I am skeptical about the performance during it. This is like a real make or break game for them. Like if this thing does not fix the problems that they've been dealing with, in the Switch era, it's going to be a little scary. But
I have confidence for them in the Switch 2 version based on what I played.
Yes.
The Switch 1 version is what I'm worried about because nobody has seen or played that one.
Yeah. That's certainly going to be a nightmare, though I'm hoping that this thing is not just built on the same like spaghetti 3DS code that they were building Pokemon games on for a long time. I think it's going to be good. The first one reviewed very well and people loved it, and this seems better in a lot of respects. So like, I don't know, it might be the next great like tentpole Pokemon game that people are like, oh yeah, this is the new hotness. I hope it's good. I really do.
I do too.
You did forget a really important spin-off in there too. Sorry.
Which one?
There's one spin-off that I just want to name check real quick. First of all, that list didn't have the other one that came out this year, which is Pokemon Friends, which is like the weird educational free-to-play game that they put out this
I
year.
decided not to include that.
Yeah, that's good. It's not very good. The one you pulled out, that's great, is Magikarp Jump. The defunct idle game for phones that was made by the developers of Pokemon Sleep, and you can tell when you play Pokemon Sleep because that game is basically an idle game. Magikarp Jump, a game where you train a Magikarp to win a tournament, and it's just like you build it. It's an idle game. It eats stuff. You take it into a tournament. It auto battles. It's so weird and so good. I love it so much, and it is very dead now. I played that thing so much that the phone that I had it on couldn't handle it anymore. Like I had like too much data in the app, and it just would crash when I opened it. Like 100 hours in that game probably. I loved it. It was great.
Oh my god! Is that somehow your most played Pokemon game of all time?
No, I know this answer. My most played Pokemon game of all time is Pokemon Sapphire. I had 400 hours of it.
Wow.
Yeah, man, I love that game. That's my favorite one.
And then looking ahead, we have Pokemon Pokopia coming to Switch 2 in 2026. That's basically looks like a kind of a combination of Pokemon, Animal Crossing, Dragon Quest Builders.
Yeah. Why not and then Sentient Ditto, right?
Yeah, I'm about it, actually. At first, I was like, that's weird. And then I was like, it's weird in a way that I like.
Weird Pokemon is good Pokemon. That's my feeling.
And then Pokemon Champions, who knows when it's coming out, but Switch and mobile. It's going to be kind of taking over their competitive meta, it sounds like. It's going to be used at the Pokemon World Championships going forward. So, Gio, we're going to wrap up this segment. But as you think about your list,
yes,
do you think that your favorite Pokemon spin-off correlates to your favorite generation? Or when, Sapphire's your favorite. When did Magikarp Jump come out? Or is that... So how about we frame it through this? We've made it through the exhaustive list.
Yeah.
Rather than taking a musical break and going to the final segment, we're just going to do an on-the-fly, informal, definitive ranking.
Wow.
You did not know we were going to do this.
Wow,
I
no,
just
I
came
didn't.
up with it right now. But let's try and do a collaborative top 5 Pokemon spin-offs. I actually already did this as an actual definitive ranking several years ago. So that's why I think it makes sense to do a joint
Easy.
list.
Yeah. So Magikarp Jump Weaver is number one.
I would not be opposed to it being in the top 5. But
no, we can leave it off. We can leave it off. There's too many good ones. I think, like, do you want to start from number 1 down to 5, or?
It might be easier.
Okay. This list is going to be woefully incomplete because neither of us have played Pokemon Conquest, which is obviously the best Pokemon spin-off of all time, sight unseen. So consider that caveat. I would put Pokemon Pinball at number 1, personally.
Ooh, that's so close.
Yeah, what would you throw up there?
I wish that I had my list up from what I did it 2-3 years ago or whatever.
Off the cuff. What's it between?
Pokemon
Snap?
Pinball is pretty high up there.
Yeah.
Let's do that. That feels right.
Pinball's phenomenal, the first one. And I feel like Snap has to be very high up after that, right?
Let's put Snap number 2. Yeah,
Okay.
let's just do that.
Let's do that. Okay.
Do we want to do one of the battlers like Coliseum or Stadium?
If we're going to put anything up there, do you think it might, after this discussion, be Pokemon XD?
Actually, what about Legends Arceus?
Oh, you know what? Good point. Arceus, for sure. That's number 3.
Let's put Legends Arceus at number 3, even
Definitely.
though I think maybe, I don't know, it's up there. Let's do XD Gale of Darkness, number 4.
I love that.
And then what are we? Stadium representation. We're missing. Well, neither of us have really played Mystery Dungeon. Neither of us are really fans of that. Pokemon Go for like when it was like that was.
Yeah, I mean, it honestly might be Pokemon Go. I really don't think it's a good game, but it's a really fantastic social moment. And I love it as an app, not as a game. But I'm willing to put it at number 5 for cultural significance for sure.
Any of the puzzle games, Trozei, Battle Trozei, Puzzle League.
It feels weird to put them above Pokemon Go, but what you got it?
I think that this goes above Pokemon Pinball.
Pokemon Go? Or
Pokemon trading card game for Game Boy Color.
Oh my god, yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm happy to throw it at the top. That game is fantastic.
Okay, so here's
Really
our list. Tell me if you have a problem with this. 1, Pokemon trading card game for Game Boy Color.
Great.
2, Pokemon Pinball. 3, Pokemon Snap. 4, Pokemon Legends Arceus. And 5, Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness.
I think that's awesome, except for the fact that we don't have Pokemon Conquest on the list.
Yes,
and we know that would be number 1.
I legitimately, if you do buy it, let me know, and I want to have you back on to talk about Pokemon Conquest.
I'm gonna look around. I'm gonna poke around. I'll say that.
You're gonna Pokemon around.
I'm
Okay.
Pokemon around.
So, normally we'd wrap up by getting an eShop gem of the week from you, Gio, but you recently reviewed a game that came out this week that might qualify in some way. Tell me all about Absolum.
Yeah, Absolum is fantastic, and people should check it out. Absolum is the new game by .emu. I don't know if you say it as .emu or .temu, but they are the French studio or publisher and studio who have been behind a lot of retro beat-em-ups that you've probably loved in the past couple of years, especially Streets of Rage 4 is the big one. This is a lot of the studios that work together on Streets of Rage 4, minus Lizard Cube, who worked on Shinobi that just came out. They got together and they said, hey, let's make an original game. Let's instead of doing a Turtles game or another one of these revivals, let's make our own cool thing. It is a fantasy beat 'em up with roguelite elements. You kind of go out on runs and do beat 'em up stuff. It twists the idea of a roguelike kind of by making it so you go on different paths within the story. There are like tons of different paths within a branch, or different branches within a path. So it's like not just the same thing every time. There's a lot of different routes and quests that you can find within a run. Combat is extremely slick. Like if you know those studios, you know that this is what they do well. It feels fantastic. It looks fantastic. It looks just like a comic book. Very inspired by, this is such a deep pull, a game that is very inspired by Dungeons and Dragons Chronicles of Mystria, which was like a co-op beat 'em up from like back in the day. If you know that game, it's kind of like that. But yeah, really fantastic. I can't recommend it enough. It's a better beat 'em up than a roguelike, I will say. I don't think the roguelike elements of it are super strong, but I think that the beat 'em up part of it is so solid that it makes up for a lot of it. And it has a frog mage. and the frog mage is one of the main characters, and he's mad about everything. Like you look at this guy and you're like, oh, what a cute character, and then you like go into battle and they're like, we're going to attack you. And he's like, I'll kill your whole family. And you're like, whoa, dude, chill out. What's wrong with you? Really cool game. I really recommend it. Did you get a chance to play it yet?
I've not played it. I have it loaded up, and I've just been knee deep in Ghost of Yotei, and then I have a couple of reviews coming in. So I have not fired up Absolum, but I've heard great things. Game Informer, our own editor-in-chief, Matt Miller, reviewed it, and I think he gave it a 9 out of 10.
Wow, good, yeah.
It has an 86 on Metacritic.
Yeah,
that's quite a good rating.
It's special, man. It's just cool to see that studio get to do something original and prove themselves and be like, hey, we're not just like a retro shtick studio, you know, like we're gonna do the thing we do with our own franchise, our own world. I think they announced that there's an animated thing coming out. I can't remember if that's a thing or if I'm making that up. I don't know. But yeah, man, it's really cool. I'm excited for them.
Yeah, let me make sure I'm getting the right score here from Matt Miller. It is a 9. Yeah, so okay. It looks great. It's beautiful as well.
Yeah, it's a really, really, really pretty game. It's great, man. It is getting an animated series adaptation. I didn't make that up. Thank
nice.
God my brain works. Which is really cool. If you like beat 'em ups, great. If you like roguelites, you know, really. Lots of progression, you know, you're definitely going to get through it if you play long enough. It's worth playing, and it's co-op, 2-player co-op, so good excuse to play with a friend.
Does Polygon still do review scores, or is that a thing of the distant past?
No, we don't do scores. I didn't give it a score, which is great because I'm very unpopular with the way I approach scores. I like use the whole number scale. So like even a game like this that I think is great, I might be like, oh yeah, like a 7.5, you know, and to me that's awesome. And people would get really mad at me about it. I think it's solid. I really like it. Again, I have problems with the roguelike part of it, and that's my sticking point. But I think if you like this kind of game, you'll really enjoy it. And that studio deserves the world. They're doing such cool work.
And it is available now for Switch, PlayStation, and PC. Costs $25, but it is currently on launch discount for, I think, $22.50 on at least the eShop.
Nice.
So if you're hoping to get in early, go check that out. Gio, thank you so much for joining me for this episode. We got through a lot. We packed a whole lot of living into this hour and 45 minutes, 2 hours, however long.
Before we started this, we were like, it's not going to be 2 hours long. And it was like, yeah, no, it is, man. We're going to do it.
Yeah, it's just about 2 hours. But thank you so much to everyone for listening. As you know, my Patreon and the associated Discord server are the best ways to get any questions or comments in, but you can also get in touch with me at Brian at All Things Nintendo, or hit me up on Blue Sky or Instagram at Brian Pichet. There is also now an All Things Nintendo Instagram page, and you can also find me on TikTok for clips of the show. Gio, where can people find you online?
Yeah, you can find me on Blue Sky at Mario Prime. You can find me on Polygon.com, writing about video games. Those are the two main things. And this episode's dropping tomorrow, right? Or at midnight? I don't know. Secret to your Patreon audience. I'm putting out an album of music tonight.
Whoa!
In the morning, I don't know. It'll be up tomorrow at duckspeak.bandcamp.com. It's old songs from a decade ago that don't sound very good, but I'm just trying to get them off of SoundCloud because I don't want them to be AI trained. So you can listen to it. It's a compilation.
Well, go check that out. But that is our show for this week. Thank you again for listening. Take care. We'll see you next time. Before we wrap up this show, I just want to give a special shout out to the $10 patrons of the podcast. Alex Stadnick, Andy Junkins, Ben Richland, Chaps My Ass, Derek Sigmund, Dusty Beeman, Ian T. Clark, Jason Thompson, Jawar Hello, Johnny 5, Jose Villalobos, Joshua DeProy, KC Radio Man, Cody Gibson, Creeper 207, Paul at Drunk on Mako, Pratable, Rob McCann, Bobby Mac 265, Robert Sosa, Roberto Nieves, Roger Reichart, Russell Sayer, Smithy Poo, and Zek 3 Swords Sama. Thank you so much for your continued support. You enable me to continue doing this show week after week.
Hey there, I'm Hugh from Poderation. If you like today's show, why not check out Rolling Dice and Taking Names, the premier tabletop review show. Join Marty and Tony as they invite you to their metaphorical kitchen table to talk about all the latest board games, RPG games, miniatures, and anything in the tabletop world that takes their fancy. From in-depth reviews to the latest gaming news, they make it their mission to find the latest and greatest in the tabletop world and deliver it all wrapped up for your listening pleasure. Available wherever you get your podcasts.